Hello, everyone. Uh, we're back once again with the Rumble Arena Remake tier list. Shen is accompanying me once again, and
Yellow.
this time we're gonna try to finish up everything with the remaining characters. Like I did, I did say that there were a lot of characters in the game, and
If we do everything right, it should be the final part.
yeah, hopefully. Because there was a lot to say about pretty much everyone, and uh, the upcoming ones are actually no exception, save for maybe some straightforward guys. But let's just cover everything up, okay? So last time we left with the Raihimon, so we still have to finish up Frontier. The next character I want to cover from Frontier are the two Royal Knights, and I think we're gonna start with Lord Knightmon or Crusadermon, or Pinky as I like to call her. I'm gonna put
Where do you think they should?
Pinky in S tier in the higher end. Uh, mm, I think I'm gonna put her probably here. Hmm.
It's an interesting unit. They can really turn the tables even against some higher end people, but like due to their teleporting moves and really good melee. But they are built out of tissue paper, so if they ever get counterattacked, they're gonna feel it.
Yeah, because she has very low defense, but extremely high firepower. Especially in Ultra because her main move is basically unblockable. I mean, at least the aftershocks, so like the explosions she does after she hits in melee. And the thing about Lord Nightmon is that she's a completely melee focused character. She has
They love hitting you against the wall in Ultra because if they ever get you up against there, they can break through your guard with her explosions. So it's kind of like they're trying to mug you in a dark alleyway, and they're going to get away with it.
basically you can let them have the upper hand on you. Otherwise, they just won't let up and kill you quickly. And
It's momentum-based character, and she needs to keep that momentum in order to keep getting hits and keep doing damage. If she loses it, then she's going to be panicking.
yeah, I mean, it's not like she's defenseless in base. She still has really high mobility, and she can nullify some projectiles. But it's in Ultra where she becomes really scary. She also has this one so-called projectile, which acts more like a trap. Usually, it doesn't really matter, but in Ultra, it's nasty because it can charm. And getting charmed by her, it's really bad because then she can just follow it up with her melee and then kill you. Because her attack is really high. She has A attack.
Now, interesting.
And she
Now,
can.
she is built like that, but her Dynasmon, on the other hand,
Oh, she can also
he
glitch,
is
but
a completely different story.
okay. Let's.
Like,
Yeah,
while she does glitch and she has like a lot of fancy tools such as charm, like that are potent, Dynasmon, on the other hand, he is not. He doesn't really have a whole lot going for him, oddly
okay.
enough. They're
Dynasmon.
renowned to be like a very powerful dragon, but in this one, he can't really seem to get a lot of hits out. Which I would consider him a, yeah, right about there, because he has like
He has
the tankiness, the
less
kind of
tools than
sturdy defense
Alcomon,
wise.
but does can do a lot of damage. The problem is
And yeah,
again, yeah, he has the damage, but not a reliable way to dish out the damage. Not as bad as this
like
guy, but no, I mean he's actually worse than this guy. He's really slow and he rarely hits the opponent, especially PvP.
He has some safe ways to doing melee, but he would need to get there because if they dance around him due to how slow he is, he won't be able to catch up. And being melee and very being very slow is a killer combination.
Like this guy has E speed, so the same speed stat as Daipenmon, Machine Dramon, Cannon Dramon, and he's not
But
exactly a tank.
what makes Daipenman work though is that they can area denial with icicles and have a huge hitbox with all of his melee attacks.
Yeah,
Dynasmon has neither.
and one unblockable move in Ultra to boot. Dynasmon has neither. He has his Wyvern, which basically gives him super armor, meaning he can't be staggered. But in some cases, that goes against him because he can't tank attacks that well. And so his whole job is just to do damage as much as possible while having essentially no speed. The only reason he's up
Eh,
there is because when he does do damage, especially in Ultra, I mean, you'll notice it.
If he finds weakness after hitting you a few times, it'll be hard to get him out of there. So essentially, he is a character that'll try again, but if you let your guard down, he can mess you up. But if you are defensive enough, it should not be a problem at all. You
Yeah.
should be able to take care of him in sweat.
There's also the fact that he can also power up his melee if he blocks a projectile with it. But again, that rarely comes into play, to be honest, exactly because he's really slow.
I think that I'm almost tempted to put him under Argamon, honestly, when they're talking about it.
Mm,
Yes, at least Argamon can heal. He can drain enemy meter. He
yeah,
can do massive wall combos. He can bug.
yeah, actually,
He has
you're
the poking
right.
power.
It's still higher than Valkyriemon, though, I think, no?
True. Yeah, definitely higher. That A defense really helps him out. But
Yeah, I was on the side that Algoma is not that bad.
yeah, he's better than Dynasmon, surely. But yeah, it's a really night and day issue between him and Pinky.
Yeah, it's kind of kind of sad to be honest. But oh well.
I'm sure they'll fix him in the future. He won't be
I
like this forever, I'm sure.
Yeah, I doubt that. Yeah, let's move forward. I don't think there's
Yeah,
anything else to say about Dynasmon. Okay, so now for the big guys. Let's cover Lucemon first. Now, obviously, Lucemon is like top 5, top 6 character in the game. I think he goes right here. I don't think
I mean,
he's.
like,
I don't
who would
think.
have guessed that Luthmon would have been that high?
I don't think he's as dangerous as Neo Crimson, but like really close.
I think
Okay,
it depends on the matchup.
depends on the match. I
Because,
mean,
like,
no, I mean,
he can handle issues that Neo Crimson can't, but in the same token, Neo Crimson can annihilate meter.
yeah,
Luthmon here has unique factor similar to Paladin mode of being invincible during a sports special,
yeah,
which can combo into quite a lot and
yeah.
be saved from a whole lot of damage.
In up special into normal aerials and into his neutral down special, which by the way, it's another reason why he's up here because like neutral and down special are another unique factor is because is light
Dead or
and dark
alive.
orb because these things heavily debuff the enemy on hit, like debuff attack one, the light orb, and debuff defense, the dark orb. And if you hit both of them under a certain window of time, it triggers his famous Dead or Alive, which will
Hmm.
immediately set their meter to 0. And if you hit it 4 times during the same round, he will instantly kill.
Very tricky.
Very tricky.
So he has a way of dealing with an enemy with projectile or with melee.
I mean,
And that's, I mean, all of it because people, me included, love to just go straight to its evolution form. Shit.
I
Satan mode.
prefer to stay in a full in his base form, but his evolution form is no slouch. Like Satan mode
It's
is absolutely no joke.
it can completely stonewall some characters because, unlike most Ultra forms, it does not drain through time. Satan mode, you just have to take him to 50% of the meter's health, which every time he takes damage, the meter will take the damage instead of him.
Yeah, and once he
Oh,
goes into
some characters like Kentaro's Mon just simply can't do enough damage to it before he dies. While some characters like Holy Dramon or Marsmon might have an easier time, but overall, it's hard to avoid damage when it's
I mean, yeah, Marsman can erase it, but he also needs to be careful because like super armor. And the neat thing about Satan mode is that most of the time he'll just hit you.
hmm
Like
sometimes with unblockable attacks.
yeah, and yeah, he has one unblockable attack which you can dodge, and then three others which you can't dodge at all. So you just have to guard all the time.
Which there's combos like its up special, which sends a bunch of projectiles everywhere, make you instinctively want to guard, and then you can pop the guard breaking move.
Naturally, there are
So he
some
has a
that
lot
just
of combo potential.
yeah. Though of course you need to be careful because like if his meter actually does fall below 50%, he goes into larva mode, which like has very little offensive potential and no defense at all. But that rarely happens, to be honest. And to be fair, I we never really use him in PvP. So like,
Though, interesting factoid, even powerful, really powerful attackers don't scale high on this guy, like, for example, Irismon, which we'll cover later, or Ulforce. Like, they simply can't do too much to him because they're not built for it. Multi-attackers simply cannot damage him in that state unless they
characters
pull
that
out melee attack.
do combos. Okay, I get it.
hmm
Well, yeah, but
Like,
there are some that actually do good damage to him, like moves that are simply multi-hit. Like for example, okay, I'll bring him up again. Aldamon up special, or Seraphimon up special.
but take like a ridiculous unit like Grandis. He can't really do much here because he's entirely based off combos.
Yeah, or like yeah, Phoenixmon or Valdurmon down special. Or Ulforce, yeah, he can do combos, but he still has the laser.
So you could remain in base form to handle people that are stronger to Satan mode. Or if you're fighting people you know will be weak, you have the option to evolve into it. So you always have a good tool for the job.
Like, yeah, even Megidramon, though, to be honest, has some tools that are dangerous for him because, like, yes, it's down special, and the explosion won't really damage Megidramon if it's Satan mode.
Yes, you just got to know when you should pop it,
So yeah, if you're using
which
Lucemon,
it's very technical.
Lucemon can basically steamroll against most of the cast, but you also need to choose when to stay in base or to evolve. Like the evolution won't exactly solve everything um, immediately. There are different kits which you need to choose when to pop. But he's undoubtedly a super duper strong character.
While he might be strong, I think the next person is stronger.
I mean, yeah, no doubt. I mean, who else but our old reliable Susanomon? Susanoma is like top three in the game. He goes right here.
he
Uh,
uh he's
yeah,
probably one of the most
he
durable people
doesn't
in the cast in base.
okay, he doesn't really have anything that is extremely broken, so I don't think he goes into triple S. But yeah, what it does have is like extremely nasty. So he has double S defense, so extremely tanky. He's he has very good combo potential. He has essentially a move that gives him immediately a barrier and an extended attack with lightning, like the up special, and an extremely nasty ultra mode, which essentially makes his attack skyrocket, gives him even more firepower, both in melee and range, and an unblockable move, which also just tears through the lasers of Satan mode. Like Susanoma is basically built to be a counter to Lucemon. And if he counters Lucemon, he basically destroys the rest of the cast. There's not a lot of characters
He
that
has very little difficulty handling many of those. Like even All Force would struggle.
yeah, Ulforce would struggle. Probably Marsmon as well. Depends.
Maybe.
Like the thing is, even if you drain his meter with Neo Crimson, he's dangerous even in base
Hmm.
because he can push you to the
Gets
wall.
high priority
He can push you to the wall really easily, and then just combo you to death. Like neutral into
and
up
pop through any
special,
barrier.
neutral into up special, and up special is a barrier, which is also spammable. Yeah, the only thing is just in base he's melee focused. That's the whole thing. And in Ultra, he basically just can't be approached at all because if you try to go melee to against him while he's in Ultra, he'll just counter you. Because yeah, he has a counter as well. And yeah, basically he'll just kill you really fast. Um, and yeah, in arcade mode, unfortunately, you don't fight him really often. At least most of the time, you just fight Lucemon. Uh, Anything else to say about Susanomon? I mean, besides the fact that basically, if you find him in survival mode, in most cases you'll end your run. But
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Like very dangerous, very scary, hard to see. But when you do see him, you better have a plan.
yeah, like just watch the video I made if you want more details. Like it's super straightforward to explain like this. Okay, so
Typically, unless you have a method, you're just not going to win. You just have to plan it ahead of time.
yeah, the only reliable way is to just zone him and make sure he doesn't come near you. But that's like only reliable in very large maps, like for example, a digital hazard. And even then, it's not that easy. Depends on who you're using.
I think
Okay.
that finishes Frontier, if I'm correct.
Okay. Yeah. 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 There's no one else for Frontier for the moment. So after Frontier, we got the X Evolution movie, and so
Hmm.
let's cover the Doru line. Let's start with Doru Goramon. Okay. Spoiler alert: the Doru line is crazy. All three of them. Doru
Yeah,
Goramon.
I think,
Doru Goramon will go right below Grandis.
yeah, but well, it's hard to like upstage Grandis. He is like right there. He's like right close to.
Because like Dorugoramon is like okay. When last part I said there's only one guy that is more Unga Bunga than Marsmon, and I believe it's Dorugoramon. Because
Yeah,
this guy is basically the definition of Unga Bunga, but without the dangers that Marsmon has. He's like incredibly safe. Does insane amount of damage, especially in Ultra. Like in Ultra, if he hits you with the forward special, uh, you're dead.
essentially the forward special is his main unique feature.
Yeah,
He surrounds himself in a veil of light, making himself immune to projectiles before rocketing forward, sometimes even like off the screen and dragging the enemy all along the way.
yeah, because it semi tracks the enemy, so
It can be avoided, but if it does hit you,
or
he can
guarded.
chain like three or four special moves into that.
Yeah, you can avoid it or guard it, fortunately. But like if he hits you, more times than not, you're dead unless you're using Susanomon or something. Because this
I've
guy does.
actually used him to take one combo and kill a boss character with just one combo with that.
Yes, in all, even in base, but in ultra especially, is like very dangerous.
If you're
The
against a very
is
competent player who has him, you're
He's just
probably just not going to win.
yeah, he's just slightly more unsafe than Grandes, but they're like on the same scale of dangerous. Gun is just safer to use.
Personally, I'd knock his damage down in the future. It's a little overtuned
Mm,
because of how reliable he is. But once they do that, I think he'd find himself to be more inviting to fight against.
probably depends. Yeah, that will need to be discussed probably, but among other players.
Hmm.
Mm, and yeah, oh yeah, I forgot to mention he can guard disable you in Ultra, as if that wasn't enough.
Guard, disable, burn, amongst other things,
And guard
meaning
is yeah,
his combos will be perfect.
mhm. Yeah, he's lovely. Very unga bunga, very simple, very strong. Okay, but if you think this guy is ridiculous, what about this guy? I think we got our first triple S tier character,
Yeah, the older and more deadly custom.
Dex Dorugoramon. So, what does Dex Dorugoramon do? Uh, remember what I said about Susanomon earlier? Okay, now give him a projectile, make him faster, make him safer, and give him a stage evolution. Yep.
Now, what I find interesting is that he can bombard with a low cooldown move that fires a bunch of projectiles from one direction that
Yep.
he can free flight during. Now, if he hits somebody, he can just hold the up key and drag them into a combo with projectiles all the way into the sky.
This move has no cooldown, and the projectiles are really big, so they're hard to avoid.
They could potentially just keep spamming this until he gets his ultra mode and be perfectly
And
safe all the while.
don't try to reflect them because that won't go well.
Essentially, if you're fighting a
Oh,
Dex Digimon and
mhm.
they only use neutral, you're probably not going to stop that.
I mean, let's not forget about the down special either. Okay, the covers of
It's a
YK,
mid-range move, which is very similar to Phoenix Mons.
but
And if
it's
you know Phoenix Mon, you know that's already powerful.
yeah, but it also sucks you in and can be used as a combo ender as well, even in the air.
Hmm.
So like, and the damage is basically on the same level as Dorugoramon, so it's really high. So, and unlike Dorugoramon, who essentially has only one plan, this guy can do whatever he wants and just get away with it.
Hmm.
And he doesn't even need to evolve. If he does evolve into Dexmon, you basically have another character that, like Sailor Mode, has a bunch of attacks which you can't avoid, besides maybe one attack, but you need to time it really well to avoid it. And basically gives you free damage. And as one move that basically protects you from any sorts of damage, which is the down
It
special.
basically becomes immune to damage for a time.
Yeah.
Hence tracking attacks, hyper damage moves. And I personally like the attack he has. That it's a beam that clockwise attacks the entire stage,
Mm,
meaning it's guaranteed to hit every crevice.
yeah, I believe that's the up special or the forward special. I think it's the up special, yeah. Which you won't see really often in arcade mode, but it's really strong. You'll love finding this
Now, if a
bastard.
player's using it, then they'll probably spam that, and you'll have a really bad time.
Good luck fighting this bastard. Like in arcade mode, you'll fight this guy really often. Um, and I think that's it really, because super simple character, brain dead, strong, extremely powerful.
Honestly, it's when the characters you can button mash and win with, even if you are not familiar with the game.
Yeah, you're just button mash. He's even easier to Susanoo. That's really it's insanely easy. If you're a really good player, however, and manage to get a perfect in his arcade mode, you'll fight Alphamon instead. Alphamon is another triple S tier character, and I believe is the best character in the game.
Hmm. Which I suppose that's for the name, Alphamon.
So, why is Alphamon the best character in the game?
A lot of factors, but I think we should start with the neutral. Do you
Okay,
agree?
so the neutral special. It's basically the first thing we see him do in the movie, the digitalize of soul thing. In this game, it's a move that it's basically a huge, I guess you can call him physical laser, which has insane horizontal and vertical range. So even if you jump, you probably won't avoid it. And that goes through barriers. So Sakuyama, for example, can negate it. And
It has a tiny, tiny little void right between his wrist and his body, but you're probably not going to find that sweet spot unless you're hugging him.
yeah,
And
like
if you're hugging him, you're probably crazy.
you have to use really small characters like a rookie essentially, a really small rookie
Hmm.
like Agumon or Falcomon, those guys. And the other insane thing is that this guy can spam it. He has free flight with it, meaning he can juggle you on the wall with that thing while he's far away.
So it's essentially kind of like Dexterugamon's neutral, where you can ladder with, except he can go right through your barriers as well as like All Force Shield, which is supposed to stop projectiles.
Yeah, so like at least you can use barriers to stop Dexter or Goramon. You can't stop Alphamon. Um, and then he has that summon, which can be used as a distraction. But like the neutral special alone is what makes him scary offensively, at least in base. In Ultra mode, things change completely because all of his moves are scary. And then he gets another extra tool for which he's very famous, which is his Alpha Enforce. What Alpha Enforce does is basically that whenever you want, you just press the button and whatever happened on screen immediately gets cancelled. So if he took damage, he'll negate the damage. He'll negate any attack that's coming his way, any status ailment, at the cost of some meter, and the opponent will be frozen for a few seconds. As long as he has meter while he's in ultra mode, he can use this whenever he wants.
So even
So
if in the middle of a combo, he
even in the
can
middle of a
interrupt
combo,
you and do it.
yeah, even if he gets comboed by Grandis Quagamon, he can just press that button and just say, nope, screw you, and then combo him back.
So he can
He's
do that neutral ladder at its perfect sweet spot, or just swing his blade, which he gets in its ultra mode, and do a bunch of damage in one go.
you can even use it in his own combos just to troll the enemy. Although I don't see why he would use it, but basically when he's in ultra mode, he's untouchable. Like you can't touch him. You legit can't. The only way to actually counter Alphamon, there's only two ways. You either have to drain his meter with the Neo Crimson or the Diaboromons, anyone that drains meter essentially. So at least he stays in base and there's a chance you can fight him. Or you have to charm him. That's it. There's no other way.
I have a strategy I like to do, which I typically either harass them with status conditions, or I just like to use a speedy character, ham ride him until he goes ultra and just run away. Try to get as least damage as possible.
Yeah, in arcade mode I also do that. I'd like to just spam little projectiles. So he just spams Alpha Enforce and wastes his meter. There's a character that can do this really reliably that we haven't covered yet, but a lot of characters can actually just do it. Anyone that can spam projectiles, like for example, who can do it? Like Dukemon X, the Dukemons can do it, or Ophanimon, for example. Just throw anything at him. If you're fighting in arcade mode, you'll waste meter.
That's not always the best idea too, because he could still freeze you in an inopportune spot. So you
Yeah,
gotta be
like
careful
yeah,
how you do it.
that's only if you have a character that can just stay away from him, essentially. Otherwise, you just have to take it.
Mhm. If you're
Cause
slow, you're
'cause-
probably going to have a bad time.
yeah, cause like he also has a lot of health in arcade mode. Because usually you'll be going in as a rookie, as a mega. I mean, like the only exception I remember is like Nemon, who has no mega. So
At times, it's better to just go rookie.
yeah, you can go as a rookie if you're feeling gutsy, but yeah. Anything else to say about Alphamon? Like, no.
I think it pretty much covers that he is the win button.
Yeah, he's a win, but he's
If your friend picks Alphamon, you just give them a look like they know what they're doing.
yeah, it's like picking UI Goku in a Dragon Ball game. I mean, yeah. Okay. The other unique thing about Alphamon is that he's essentially zoner boss, because like he rarely goes melee, kind of like Malo. Because if you think about it, most of the bosses just go melee, and this guy is a zoner. But yeah. Okay, so there's a character that I think I want to cover alongside him, because like this guy doesn't really appear anywhere, and it's Oriumon. Honestly,
Also
I
known as, what is it? Alphamon's Blade. That
also
is
known
its
as
purpose.
I completely forgot you even are in the game.
He's a weird one. Where would you? Yeah, bottom of A.
Honest,
He has a plan of what he wants to be, but he has an identity crisis. He
I
wants to be a super
like
armor attacker that wants
I
to sweep into the enemy,
I
but he
kind of want to
doesn't
put
do
him
that.
even below Placiumon, to be honest. But
You
mm,
know, let's do it. We should.
yeah,
Why not?
I have no
At least
idea.
Pleiadiumon does not have identity problems.
Yeah, because like Placiumon works. Oriumon basically has working tools but no damage,
Hmm.
and no special tools. Like I don't think anything he has is unblockable. I uh, he's super straightforward. He has super armor in base. He has
It's like you
a
think
project.
super armor and base is like the
No,
perfect recipe for a good character, but
no.
no, actually, he does
He
not
has
do it
regular
well.
armor. Sorry, no, it's not. He has regular armor, not super armor.
No, either armor in a capacity. You think armor would be a really good thing to have, especially if you want to go in close and do damage. But for some reason, you just can't find the rhythm.
He's basically a character that is like super forgettable because he doesn't do anything special. Because like he's not. He's it's more like that he's not a character that is terrible. It's just not remarkable. Like I tried using him.
Well, mm,
I tried using him lately, and he's like uh I can literally just use Magnamon, and he does way better than this guy.
it's not that it's not remarkable. It's just that he, how do I put it? He's very linear.
It's very linear.
He charges straight forward. He shoots straight forward, and he slashes kind of forward.
Okay, but like we
All
haven't.
his things are forward except his sub special.
Yeah, and even his neutral special, which is his strongest tool in Ultra, you can still get around it by just guarding. It's basically a worse version of what the Cherubimon Virtue has, because they both summon the Thundercloud. But
And that is like if you get hit,
if you hit,
if I
yeah,
recall.
I think this guy needs a major rework, because like if I think
And unfortunately,
he's a really outdated
he
guy.
he and Dynasmon are tied to this same evolution as the rookie. And Ryudemon. I mean, Ryudamon has no good evolutions that go past A tier.
Yeah, although it's funny because Ryutamon is actually pretty good for a rookie.
Yeah, he's one of the better ones. He suffers that syndrome.
Poor Ryutamon, man. Oh well. I mean, maybe something can be done about this guy, but to be honest, I think his problem is that I just forget he's in the game. I just glance him because you have this guy before Dynasmon, but I never use him essentially.
Most people don't because there are much better options.
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
never really had a big role in the anime or X Evolution. Never really appears
He
much of anywhere.
he never appears. He just appears in Cyber Sleuth, I think.
I think he appears in what is it? One of the stories for one of the V-Pets, I believe. But I think
Um,
that's it.
and then yeah, the mobile games like Re-Arise, I think, but he never really had the proper role in those. Okay, yeah, I think that's it for Oriumon now. Shall we go to Savers, Data Squad?
Okay, we shall.
And of course, since we now are in Savers era, let's start with Shangreymon. And he shall go into double S tier, where I will put Shangreymon uh maybe here.
Okay.
Cause like yeah, hmm,
He does counter Beelzebub.
kinda I guess yeah. Like Beelzebub can still kind of dance around them, but like Shangreymon has this huge projectile that just cancels every other projectile coming his way, and you can kind of spam it in base and even more in ultra. Shangreymon is basically a pretty slow character that capitalizes a lot on zoning, and just as a few melee moves to just create some openings, but like his main game is to just use his projectiles essentially. And the main reason why he's here is simply because of the ultra mode, because like the ultra mode is really really powerful. Uh, he has burn. He has basically instant unblockable attack. No, he has two unblockable attacks actually. Like the up special, I think, has an unblockable explosion, and that's pretty much it. Like super straightforward as well. um,
And not too much to explain
Not
there.
much to explain about Shangri-La because like he's very simple. He's not an Unga Bunga character. It's just very simple to understand, but he's really really strong. Okay, but I think there's a lot to say about his rival. So let's cover Mirage Galgamon. Mirage Galgamon is a character that gave me a headache for a lot of time. You know what?
He was a character that was overtuned when he came out, and then was put more in a rational position later.
I think he's more or less on the same level as Shangri-Ma, but I kind of want to put him a little higher, simply because of his Ultra mode. But
Hmm.
let's,
I think they're interchangeable now, as they probably should be.
yeah, they're
But
interchangeable.
it's a matter of opinion how you like playing.
Yeah, yeah, because like,
It's the night and day.
yeah, Mirage Galgamon basically used to be extremely broken on release, almost like Ulforce. The Ulforce was still worse. Um, but like, but at least now he's a bit more balanced. So what he does now is basically just uh, in base, he's basically just a really quick melee fighter with a few projectiles used for disruption. But in Ultra mode, it's where things start to change because he becomes a really scary rushdown character with a teleport which just goes right into your face, drags you around the screen, and then can be comboed into any other move of his. And these combos usually will just eat away at your HP bar. Like, probably not kill you, but they will leave you like 20% because they're that strong. Like, that up
Yes,
special he
that's
has is no joke.
small weakness for it's small weakness for like people that try to linger in the air and bait him and guard. But most people don't know that. So typically he will prey on people that are trying to be careful.
Yeah, I noticed that
So
for people
he
that,
can,
for characters like to stay a lot in the air, like again Seraphimon or Baldurmon, the forward special sometimes misses, but he basically will punish you if you just wait for him. Because if you wait
and
for
with
him
his
and just,
fast speed and teleporting capabilities, that is not likely to happen. He's not going to just take waiting lying down.
yeah, if you just try to sit on your rear and zone him, he'll punish you heavily.
In base form, he can be a little brittle because while he has good like capabilities in melee and poking, he typically loses this in the range game if you know what you're
Yeah, because now he's neutral special, got nerfed a bit, but it's still a good tool.
doing. No, it's very good, and he can typically teleport around some projectiles if the player's confident.
Um, but yeah, the main reason why he's dangerous is because he covers a lot of range, especially in ultra. Because like the down, even the down special, which now is less dangerous tool in my opinion, still has a lot of range coverage, especially vertical range.
But I think that pretty much covers him.
Yeah,
Basically, kind of I like Shine Greymon explodes in ult. It's kind of basic in normal form, but both have different capabilities. One is speed, one's attack power.
yeah. Shengerman does more damage, does more damage in general. But Mirage is more speedy and has some burst options in ultra. They're very similar, to be honest. Okay, now this one is actually a little interesting. We have another Rosamon. Now, the Savers Rosamon is actually pretty damn good. I will put her here in S tier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right off the bat, yes, Bancholimon does shut her down a little bit. That's why she's not in double S tier. And the other problem is that in base form, she's very linear. Like everything she does
But that's not a bad thing
just goes
in
into a
this
straight line.
case.
And yeah, you think,
While linear typically is like the death of characters being too linear,
yeah,
she is sort of the exception because she has a lot to throw out in a linear fashion. So
yeah,
basically, if she sends out five things, if one of them hit, then it's a good thing for her.
yeah. Basically, what we said for Oriumon doesn't really apply to her because she's actually fast. She's what I like to call a rush down zoner because
Her things are quick to deploy.
she wants to keep the opponent away, but she's really fast at shooting her stuff. That she still keeps you on your toes, even if she's really straightforward. Like even mostly it's because of her forward special, because it has a follow up move, and usually it just combos into her other tools. And when she goes ultra, she has access to not only insane burst damage, but also I believe it's also the most reliable charm in the game
Yeah,
because
I could sign that. That's maybe a little fun.
Yeah, I mean you can guard it, but she just fires these projectiles that will just charm you if you get hit by even one of them, and then she'll just delete you with the other projectiles. And I think she also has. I think their up special is also unblockable. I don't remember, but I think it
I'd
is.
have to look into that. I'm not sure about that.
I think the explosion of up special is unblockable. But
It might
yeah,
be.
yeah, really, really nasty. Often, often underestimated. I think.
Well, two Rosemon, it's easy to overlook one or the other.
Mm. That one is melee, and the other is zoner. Um, yeah, I think that's it actually, because she doesn't really do anything else in Ultra. She just charms and then does a lot of damage. Okay,
Pretty concise. I think the next should be Ravemon.
yay. Okay, Raven is a funny one. I think he goes into S tier, and I think it will put him probably here below Sakuyamon. I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually. It could also go above, but let's look
Around that area.
close. Hmm?
It's around that area.
Yeah, because like, okay, so I'm mostly known for being the Falcomon enjoyer because I like to spam the shurikens. And Raven is kind of like that as well. He likes to spam the neutral special and harass the enemy, continuously interrupting them and then swooping in for some melee damage. And then what I also like about him is the down special because it's basically kind of like a barrier that, however, is quicker to deploy when he's in the air, which is actually kind of unique if you think about it. Um, the only problem is that he's a little frail and he is not super reliable. Like it is.
He covers his weakness hits pretty well though, because he can swoop in, poke, and do a lot of high priority melee strikes and splash damage with his down special. So
Potentially, yeah.
getting him into a weak spot is difficult unless you're a ranger.
Yeah, like it just doesn't do too crazy stuff essentially. Like the guys in double S tier are all crazy. He's just strong but nothing too spectacular because the ultra mode is good, is strong, but not exactly hyper scary or anything because it's melee focused. It has one projectile which is dangerous, but and because you can guard disable, but you can also just guard it. So the main thing about the ultra mode is simply that he has the force special, which is unblockable, and if you do hit the opponent with it, you then follow up with another move, which in most cases would be just the down special because you're just in the right range for that. But it's basically his whole plan. It's kind of like Rosemon was Savage Rosen was the main plan to just charm the enemy in Ultra mode, but even if that fails, she has other tools. Raven has a single plan in Ultra mode, and that's essentially it. Although when it does work, usually it does wonders. Unless I'm missing something else. But the times I used them, that felt like it.
I think it's pretty accurate.
Mhm. So yeah, he's basically melee focused if you think about it. He's almost pure melee. Uh, okay, so next up we have uh, Okay, let's cover Slave Monk and Taurus Monk first. Mm. Ah,
I've heard.
a breath of not so fresh air, unfortunately.
It's like a Doru that is bad.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's not jump the gun just yet. It does have some good tools. Okay. Uh.
Okay.
Okay. Let's explain. Um. It can zone, I guess. he he
Okay.
yes.
I think I should cover a little bit of this.
Um.
Like, he has like a poking move, right? He can hit you with a quick on demand projectile. Not too strong, but it can interrupt sometimes.
mm,
But he can be predictable and hold it down, which doesn't do too much because it, you know, it's no longer poking at that point. And he has some charge move that is Doru's, but doesn't do nearly as much damage. It's much slower and it's way more predictable.
and it can be interrupted because the projectile it doesn't block projectiles.
Yeah, not to mention does not lead into a big combo like Doru's. And it's just its weakness, honestly, because a lot of characters can just either jump out of the way or just guard. He can go right past them.
And then you just combo the hell out of him. His
Its
down
down
special
special is pretty much useless unless he's no.
is in ultra, yeah. In ultra, it starts getting decent, but like you have to get to the ultra mode. That's the thing.
Which usually, when it comes to this guy, means he has to take a lot of hits because he's surely not going to dish it out.
Yeah, in ultra mode is decent because the down special actually reliably freezes the opponent. It can freeze even in bases. Just it just takes an eternity. um,
Yeah,
but yeah, it basically relies a lot on the ultra mode. Again, kind of a shame because Kudamon is actually really strong.
there's not really much to say about him other than he's kind of in a sad state of affairs. And if he exists, people usually pick Naru instead.
Mm, I mean, yeah. At least don't sleep on Kudamon though. Kudamon is good. Okay. Who's next? Uh,
I'd say the chess mods. Why not?
the Chessman first. Okay. Okay, so let's cover King Chessman first. Let's put him at the top of B tier. Cause like, okay, he's more like a joke character, but a pretty fun one in a way. Uh, he's not exactly great, cause like he doesn't really have any incredible tools like status ailments or unblockable stuff, but he can be really annoying to fight. Is the thing. So the thing about King Chessmon is that he himself doesn't really fight. He has a laser, and then the rest of his kit is just running away and then summon his minions, which basically will fight for him. And so the annoying thing is that you constantly have to get past these minions to actually do damage to King Chessmon. And in Ultra mode, he just capitalizes on this because he can just summon his minions back to back, and he can summon all three together: Knight Chessmon, Bishop Chessmon, and Rook Chessmon. Yeah, those three. and all three have a single attack each. One charges at you, one fires at you, and the other just is a walking wall.
Since
Uh,
its neutral special practically does no damage unless he's critically injured, he essentially has to make it a delay game until he gets injured eventually. So he'll turn it into a slog. If he does not, he's going to lose because he can't do any damage otherwise.
yeah, he's a very slow guy when it comes to actually winning the game. Like he can win. I do think he's better than these three at least. But I actually would say he's probably better than Oriumon, but like it'd probably be a little insulting.
Mm,
Mm,
honestly, though,
no.
it's impossible to clear survival with this guy. You just simply can't, unless you're a madman. And he just has no versatility. Putting
Yeah,
him in any other mode,
yeah.
it's just difficult.
You just have to pray that the minions do damage.
And this PvE, which most people do, he is one of the least satisfying people to use in PvE.
I mean, I like using him once in a while
Uh,
because like
it took an hour and a half for me to go into survival and not win past 30 with this guy.
I
He's
mean,
terrible.
okay, wait. I think the minions actually got buffed in later updates, but like I can see why you don't want to try it again.
I think someone else tried it again recently and it's still a similar result.
Okay, to be fair, I used them in arcade mode, Path 3, and Omegamon fucking kicked my ass. And I was playing as Pawn Chessmon, to be fair. But even if I started directly as King Chessmon, it probably would have gone worse. Because like Pawn Chessmon can
Yeah.
actually fight,
Oof.
is the thing. Uh, okay, if he does get to low HP, the laser he has actually will do damage. But that's the thing, because like if he has to rely on his minions to do damage, and he himself doesn't do anything until he actually gets hurt, then yeah, he's not exactly a stellar character. He's pretty bad. At least he's unique. There's that.
There's that.
Let's talk about her concubine, I guess. What? No, 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 no. Hey.
That's a terrible thing to say, but okay.
Sorry. Okay, Queen Chessmon. Honestly, I think Queen Chessmon is just a slightly worse War Greymon. Queen Chessmon is a character that is like basically War Greymon but can't stay in the air, in my opinion. She will
Hmm.
essentially just poke you and then rush at you with her stick. That's her whole game plan. Although in Ultra mode, those swords she has become missiles, but because like yeah, she does burst damage, but like I just prefer War Greymon, to be honest.
You
Like
can like do a good melee combo game.
yeah, like she's a rushdown character for sure. She's really fast. But I'm not really sure where to put her, to be honest.
Hmm. I think
Cause
there's good though.
yeah, I don't think because yeah, Black Mega Gargamon maybe can wall her out. That's the thing. Yeah, yeah, like let's just leave her here, okay? So um, yeah, she basically just rushes at you and does a lot of damage, but the damage is not exactly super high. It's not like Piedmon, who just does strong single strikes and just harasses you until you're dead. You can just see her coming and then you guard, unless she does the up special, I guess, in ultra mode. But like besides that, unless you're like never fought her, she's not exactly a threat. Uh, Want to add something about her? Because like I really don't know what to say about her. She's very
Well,
simple.
I know that she's actually a little devious in survival. So I know she can be good because I've seen the combos myself. I just don't think anyone's actually tried to main her. I think there's a little bit of untapped potential, but just nobody has tried her to an extent to do that with.
Like can I say that she gave me a lot of pain in survival mode?
She's ended quite a few runs for me. ENS latest 150.
Hmm. And I also fought her a little bit in PvP, and she utterly destroyed me, even though I was using Ult Force. So like, yeah,
Now that's against a very, very experienced player, though.
I guess, but yeah, there's that. Like, she can definitely win against even the top tiers. She has the tools. Just need to know how to use her. Let's just move forward. Hmm, there's this guy now, Jumbo Gamamon. Okay, where shall we put Jumbo Gamamon? Maybe
Hmm,
here?
good question. Hmm. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe?
Hmm.
Maybe higher than Seraphimon?
How about Sarathimon?
Okay, I think
Its
there's a
combos are ridiculous.
okay. Yeah, I think there's actually something to say about Jumbo Gamamon because like he's another really unique character. Have you ever wondered what it's like to have a tank that is fast? Yeah, it's Jumbo Gamamon. He basically has a unique gauge, which is basically his water gauge, water tank meter, which will basically power up all of his moves. And as Shen just said right here, he has nasty combos exactly because of this water tank, because they just made him zip around the battlefield with armor effect, so he can't be interrupted. And he basically is a master at pushing you to the wall and then just comboing you to death in like 5 seconds. He's really good at doing that. And he also doesn't care about barriers because he has his water jet, which is basically a physical laser, like Alphamon's neutral special, but not nearly as crazy, of course. And and yeah, his charge forward as armor, so barriers won't do anything to him. And the down special basically just keeps you on the wall. And the ultra mode, the main thing about it is that simply it doesn't let the water tank get empty because it feels really fast. So you can just keep doing his stuff over and over, and that's essentially it. It just pushes you to the wall and
He
kills you.
can he can just chip you out really well, no matter what you're doing. Hard to interrupt. and cutting through barriers. Just very reliable in what he does.
And he has some.
But he's also predictable. So
Yep.
if you can see him what he's about to do, since he only goes in a straight line no matter what he's doing, then you could try to preemptively avoid that from happening.
Although okay, maybe this is not so important. It does have some anti-air when in Ultra, but it's not like Canon Dramon. You can just do it in base. So yeah, there's that. But he does basically just.
Despite that, he's also, I think, the fastest tank in the game. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, I did say that. He's the only tank that's actually fast.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else that is tanky? Because yeah, like Doro can take some hits, but he's not exactly a tank. He's a rushdown.
Hmm. I
Okay,
don't think anyone else nearly as fast tanky wise.
nope. Like Jumbo just takes it like a champ because he has S defense, but then just swims to the battlefield at crazy speed. Assuming you have water, because if you don't have water, his performance just goes down the drain essentially. But fortunately, it does fill up by just waiting a little bit. Although you don't really want to wait when fighting another player, it's the thing. Okay, okay, we shall be next. I think I want to cover uh you first. Mercurymon or Merukimon.
Mirukimon.
I want to put him in double S tier. Where though? Maybe here?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe a little lower?
Sure.
Here maybe?
Yeah. It's face though.
Okay, so I mean he's in double S tier, so he does have some nasty tools. Um, so I think his main weak point is simply that he's really frail, and as one tool that isn't really working in ultra mode. But what he does have that actually works, he will make it count. He basically likes playing by disrupting the opponent and then just setting up this field that does a lot of damage, and then just punch rush you by doing a lot of damage. I think that's the main dangerous factor about him is just the ultra mode, because the down special is really dangerous in my opinion. And that's his most dangerous tool by far, in my opinion.
You can throw you into a blender when you're not guarding, but if you are guarding, you're just going to heal off to a massive degree reliably. So either way, it's not a good solution. The main thing you need to do is just avoid him getting to that move in general. And since he's super fast, he probably is going to get up right up to you to do that. You just want to mitigate how much he does.
Yeah, and I think he also drains meter with down special.
Hmm.
hmm And yeah, he does have double S speed, like Ulforce. Although Ulforce is still faster due to his gameplay.
One thing to note is that he does have a teleport move when he's in Ultra, but it has very, very low priority. So it can be interrupted by melee attacks, even when he's teleport.
That or it just misses, which is the tool I mentioned earlier, the one tool that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it did work, he'd be a little higher. Probably be above Snatchma, maybe. If it did work. But he's still very nasty. You still need to be on your guard when fighting him. Okay, we have another sub boss. No, we actually have two more for savers. We have Dark Dramon. Dark Dramon,
While I like using him, he is not terrific.
honestly, can I put him above Dynasmon?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, because like yeah, not
He
to
has some really good priority with attacks. Down special, super high priority, neutral, pretty good priority. So what's the problem? Down special, it's slow to use, and that's very predictable. And neutral, it's a bit slow and linear. Therefore, it's hard for him to actually get people down because its only two projectile moves can be easily dealt with.
generally he's slow to when fighting. He does a lot of damage, but he's really slow. So he has a problem that I know really well, which is the infamous windows.
Yep, and not to mention, he has the serious melee priority issue. Even the likes of like War Greymon, the first character you'd probably pick up, has priority on every attack he does. The forward, where Greymon does it better and does more damage. Up special, where Greymon does better and more damage.
It does
Then
the
whenever they clash, where Greymon is always got priority.
okay. I will say that also depends on where you are, because for me it does beat out Wargreymon if I am above him, but like yeah, it's more of a positioning factor than a priority factor.
And most of the
And
time, like we fought many times, and I fought others many times, where Greymon typically always wins the clashes.
mm, okay,
Not to
uh,
mention, can combo a lot easier with attacks.
I mean there
Darkramon can only really combo his side and up specials together, and that's it.
yeah, and usually the combos come when he's in ultra.
Now, Darkramon's Ultra is interesting. He can clone himself and basically get another guy like him that does the same attacks he does. And nothing changes at all after that. So, it's going to be good to like try and force some projectiles out on the enemy with your clone as well. If it gets off, if you're in the middle of combo and you try to use an ultra to get out of it, it's not going to because both you and the clone will get juggled, and then your ultra will be used up, being juggled the whole time. So it's only good to be used if you're safe. If you're not safe, you're just going to use it for nothing.
Yeah, because the problem is that the clone is controlled by the AI. You're not controlling the clone. So
And often it'll just take hits.
like enchantment minions essentially. Although
Essentially, it's
the
only
diff
good if you're at long range because it can fire projectiles, and then you can, therefore covering double the ground you normally would have, which helps patch the weakness of its like predictability.
there are times where the clone will help you, and others when it will just get in the way essentially.
Overall, it's not as big of a buff as those other ultra modes, which tends to leave him behind in the later game.
Mm. The times when it does help, the damage will essentially skyrocket because imagine hitting two down special at the same time.
It's like decent against AI, sure,
Mm.
but players, not really. If they're just not scared, then they could just make your ultra worth nothing. They'll just
He also doesn't
go
have
right through it.
he also doesn't have anything that is scary, no status ailments and no unblockable stuff. Because Algamon at least has glitch. This guy doesn't have anything, just damage.
He's not good in any of his game, essentially. He just needs to overwhelm an ultra, but otherwise, his attacks will always be outdone by other characters.
Yeah, I mean it's not uber terrible. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be in A tier. The
It's
yeah,
just he can do damage, he can beat people, he can overwhelm, but it's
he's
just harder for him to do that than most
he's
others.
serviceable. It just gets outshadowed by other characters.
Like take a look at people just slightly above him, like Hercules, for instance. He could just super armor through everything. Much better in the melee game. Has many barriers that he has, and not to mention can make you lose your guard.
And
That's a lot of good tools,
and Saber
and it has
Leomon
higher defense,
has the down special,
and it's faster and
and
can
it's
poison.
faster, can poison. You can hit both him and the clone together.
Yes, but like even people directly above him in the same lower tier can thrash him around. He's only really better than those that like have obvious problems too,
Yeah,
like Dynasonic and
and
Tars.
again, Algomon. Algomon has meter drain, so he can just get rid of the clone as
Or
well.
stop it from happening in the first place, which makes Darkramon back in its vulnerable state. Essentially, Darkramon is the king. He is the best character of the flawed characters.
Mm, essentially, because like these three at least have a plan, have a solid plan. Dark.
Darkramon is basically the warden, like the one person stopping everyone else from like not stopping. It's like the border of what the good and the bad are. After Darkramon, it starts getting good.
So it's like saying that Dark Dramon is basically the gatekeeper of the A tier, and these guys are like A minus or something.
Kinda like everyone under Darkramon has some kind of glaring flaw.
Mm,
Outside maybe Policeman, but everyone else, yeah.
and Valkyrimon has freeze, I guess, but yeah, that's it.
Land
Okay,
Island of Forgotten Digimon down there. But who's next? I think Bancho Leomon?
Bancholiamon. Yay, finally we can cover Bancholiamon. Okay, Bancholiamon will definitely go into S tier. I will put him right above Rosamon. In my opinion, he's basically prototype Marsmon
With a twist.
with a twist.
It's countering, it's very powerful, can instantly defeat like characters like Kentaro Spawn in the right conditions.
Or even tanks like Machine Ramon because of the down special. But
Which would be like a 10-second fight, but he
but
still takes the damage.
yeah, the problem is that he's made of glass. No, made of paper.
He's like this game's equivalent of Wobbuffet. He'll take the damage and deal way more back to you.
Oh,
He just needs to take it.
Of Wabafan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wabafet. Just take damage and then inflict double back. Yeah, yeah. That's basically.
Shocking high priority too, with its one projectile.
Yeah, it's one projectile. The neutral is actually shockingly powerful because like it's instant. As priority over most projectiles, and he also will burn. He likes to stay on the ground, but he has no problem fighting most flyers. I say most because these two still destroy him, but yeah. And down
He's
special.
pretty basic when you put it into like that kind of perspective.
Mm,
Just a burster that counters and that's a good projectile, essentially, what it boils down to.
yeah, and the down special, where he punches the ground, as the twist where uh, from higher the higher the place where he falls, the longer will be the range of the down special. That's in base. In ultra, you just have max range from the start, and that's also the reason why he's also good against tanks. Because apparently against tanks, he just does more damage. But yeah, like he's very straightforward, but also really dangerous. Because when you fight Bancheliomon, essentially, kind of like when you fight Mercurymon, you have to be not only careful but also really quick in taking him down. Otherwise, he'll just delete you.
Essentially.
Yeah, and it doesn't really like staying in the air. It doesn't stay in the air for long. Kind of like Queen Chessmon. Okay. Oh, and the counter is unblockable in Ultra. Okay. So that finishes up Bancholium, I think, because yeah. Surprising there's not a lot to say about most of the characters today, huh? We're going by pretty fast. Okay.
Belphamon here,
Belphemon will go in
who should
double
be the
S tier.
final beta squad.
Mm-hmm.
He is actually, while a boss character, has
Yeah.
some pretty big flaws, but can still power through them despite that
Okay,
because of his Ultra.
wait a second. Where are
So
we
he
putting him?
essentially starts in sleep mode.
Wait a second. Where are we putting
And,
him?
oh, okay.
Probably here.
First, I think probably do you think it's better than Mirage though?
Because I was thinking here, but
Yeah, yes, I think the Elfmon could still rush him down.
mm,
But yeah, I think he's low tank character, which in sleep mode he relies on healing and doing a few combos with sleeping, which, being the sloth demon, that's kind of his thing. So he sleeps people, then combos them and steals SP and while healing himself.
lol, by the
All the
way.
time to bait to get into its next form, which is rage mode in ultra mode, which basically erases the enemy with a ton of quick combos with massive splash damage with flaming chains.
It does.
But
It has a lot
he
of
does have an
glitches.
additional mode, kind of, where he goes into a weaker rage mode. But I've not heard of a single person to use that or want to use that compared to the actual Ultra.
Okay, we need to explain this a little bit because, like, basically the whole thing about Belphamon is that, similar to Jumbo Gamamon, he has a unique gauge, which is actually the
Hmm.
rage gauge, and the main way to get the rage mode in base form is to either get damage or to use the neutral special while the enemy is asleep, where he will summon.
Yeah, but like,
But the thing is, rage mode in base is pretty underwhelming. So most of the
I
time,
personally think I personally think it's like a weaker version of both Sleep and his Ultra. Like, there's
yeah,
no purpose
yeah,
to
I
use
think,
it.
yeah, I think sleep mode is still better, especially because the move that puts the enemy to sleep is spammable. Like you can do down special, then neutral for a bit, then up special, then down special again, and then rinse and repeat until you either kill the enemy or go ultra.
It'd be kind of neat if he didn't have an Ultra mode at all, but instead when he turned to Rage form, like there's Rage meter, then it's an Ultra mode. So that would just be interesting. But that's beside the point. I think it's just that he essentially has two modes people use, the Ultra and the Sleep mode. And in Rage mode, he can send in projectiles that stretch off the map and eventually come back down to Earth in like a jump scare to hit you from orbit. And that gets very difficult for people to predict when it's going to come, which that factor is pretty big in late game.
Yeah, the down special in ultra, which in ultimate is even
Yeah,
scarier because he also goes around creating these rifts while using his other moves, and which will also shoot additional projectiles alongside this big spear. Now, funny thing, I remember that I once beat Belphamon exactly because I did predict the spear with a certain someone, but
hmm
uh, yeah, inexperienced players will not really know when the spear will come down, and then will just get smacked around because the ultra mode where he's basically rage form powered up to the maximum. He just does a lot of burst damage. Like his only objective in Ultra Mode is to just damage, but he does so much that I can't really put him below double S tier. Like he's not super strong for being a boss character, but you still need to be careful, is the thing. Um, okay. Let's move ahead. Okay. Now, next up we have Omega Shoutmon. Yeah, definitely double S tier. Um, honestly, like really honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, he's really strong, honestly. His speed is probably second only to Doru when he's charging. He is very fast in his side special, where she kicks across the stage faster than its own movement speed, and doing so dragging and beating up anyone along the way, which is spammed a lot to get quick and easy combos. So he can either go melee or shell at range. So he's an all-around character with super fast speed.
And as that
Yes, and like tracking projectiles, he has a beam. He has a lot of ways to hit people that are not linear, as well as non-linear melee, which is actually very rare.
heck, even as a
Because before his kick, he goes up in the air and then skids forward. So
mhm.
if someone's trying to outmaneuver you, you can use side special and catch them in the air and then drag them.
Heck, even as a tracking missile essentially. You know the Omegamon avatar he summons with up special.
And believe it or not, his down special has more priority than a lot of things in the game. That's more priority than Terraforce. His side special has more priority than most melee attacks in the game as well.
Yep.
His priority is kind of ridiculous, actually.
Not only that, you can use that the force special to then combo into up special, and then get the aforementioned Omega the fusion avatar, which will then act as an additional projectile to keep piling up the damage. So he has
And all the
actually,
while, he has like no windows. So when he's attacking, he can just keep spamming specials all the time.
yeah,
So while he has high priority, for instance, if you have a character that has a powerful move but has windows after the fact, this guy could just spam his down special, break it, and then check your window all in the same window.
yeah, it can be a little risky to use, but like also not that much once you understand how to use him. And
He's really not too risky. He is essentially one of the safer melee people simply because of how much he can do in such a short span of time.
hmm, I guess maybe just in the earlier version it was riskier because he had low defense. Now he got buffed a little bit, I think. But yeah. In Ultra mode, the gameplay changes completely because he becomes Shoutmon D Cross, DX, and that one is just a full zoner, a tanky full zoner, which does a lot of
It's a little
damage.
awkward because it's completely against what he's meant to do. I personally avoid using the Ultra unless they're beginning to read what I'm about to do. And it throws a wrench in plans.
Yeah, it's kind of like Lucemon basically. You just go Ultra when you want to change your kit. You're not really required to go
Mm-hmm.
Ultra though.
Yeah, you can pretty much handle most enemies, including their Ultras in base, which
Yeah.
is pretty insane to say, actually. But it's like if you're fighting someone like Shine Greymon and you're handling his space form pretty effectively, he might have an easier time fighting the burst mode if he were in his ultra mode. That way, he has higher priority. He has quick striking, like forward special attacks, and he has ways of making the enemy stay away from him, which would help against unblockable attacks.
Well,
So,
on the
like
other, well, on
different
the other,
kits, different usages.
well, on the other hand, if you're fighting someone like, for example, Ulforce, you're better off staying in base form
Hmm.
because the Ultra mode is a full zoner, and the Ulforce just negates everything.
Totally. Like it can be in big nerf if you use the ultra at the wrong time,
Yeah,
especially if the enemy's close by you, because his ultra mode has huge, I mean huge windows.
yep,
So he will not be able to perform any up specials or not up specials, any specials when people are right next to him outside of his up special.
essentially, yeah. Okay,
That covers
so,
Chapman, I think.
mhm. Okay, the only other character that appears in Cross Wars, although she's not just in Cross Wars, is Lilithmon. I will put Lilithmon probably here, I believe. Actually, wait. No, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Okay, Lilithmon, from what I can tell, from the few times I used her, basically is the queen of harassment. She controls the field by basically spamming a neutral special, which is basically her most important move. And then she swoops in and uses one of her other attacks to just rack up damage.
Essentially, she'll just keep tempting you with this heart that she has spiraling around, and once you get hit, she can just lock you into a killer combo.
Mm-hmm. Because like
And in Ultra mode, it's even further because the heart will charm instead.
not only that, it will also go through barriers because it counts as a physical projectile.
And the down special becomes already charged, and when used in this fashion, typically depletes half the health of whoever you're fighting,
True.
like 100% to 50. Like it's that much damage.
Mm. Or if you want to go by faster, and you don't want to use the down special because it's pretty slow, you can use the forward special instead, which will do slightly less damage, but will also poison the enemy and then open up for another combo with their up special, assuming you're close enough. Usually it
They're
depends.
typically built to be like a alt nuke character. That's what I feel like they're aiming for because
Yeah,
that's the mold she fits the best.
yeah. In she relies on the ultra mode, although the base form isn't exactly defenseless because the heart can literally be spammed and will just keep following the opponent incessantly.
She has
The
a lot of safe tools in her normal form: free flight, harassment projectile, an attack that destroys all projectiles coming her way. She's pretty good at keeping the enemy from dealing a whole bunch to her. And I
essentially,
because she's trying to stall until she gets to her next form.
yeah, her main weakness is just that she's a little slow in the movement attacking department. So characters that can just harass her fast, like say Ophanimon or Sabers Rosamon, can give her some trouble. That's her main weakness, in my opinion.
A pretty clear cut. Not too much to say there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she can be nasty in the right hands. I'm not really good with her. Okay, so next up we have this guy, which we have ignored for so long, but it's actually because he only really appears in one instance, and it's Jesmon. Okay, Jesmon will go. You know, probably here. Okay, Jessamine is another character that essentially relies heavily on the Ultra mode, uh, but uh, he has a really nasty set of tools. It's pretty straightforward. He basically only has two attacks, but the way these two attacks works can actually make him a little dangerous. In base, he's not exactly a big threat because he has two chargeable attacks, which is basically the same attack repeated two times, and then he has another one, which is a laser, which however requires a barrier to be set up. So he has a barrier. Basically, he will protect him against projectiles, but it also will come up somewhat slowly. So unlike Old Force, which will put it up pretty fast, you can probably just interrupt him. And so in base is not.
Well,
Hmm?
as
Well,
far as this guy goes, his entire thing relies on what he'll do next. So he needs to stay unpredictable. And this Joe can do two functions. You need to make sure the enemy doesn't know what you're going to do with it. Are you going to beam? Are you going to melee? If they know what you're going to do, you'll be at a disadvantage because they'll easily be able to strike you when they know what you're about to do.
mm,
Because he has some pretty big weaknesses. When he rushes forward, he teleports, and he stops after that and strikes the pose, which you will be weak in that process.
strike
But
suppose.
in the down special, he'll have a window where while you're shooting the beam, he will be immobile and won't be able to move during it.
Yeah,
So need to make sure the enemy can't tell what he's going.
yeah. Although
And
the
if they predict wrong, they will be punished. If they predict right, he will be punished.
true, you need to predict this guy when he's in base at least, because when he's
In
in
ultra mode,
ultra,
you still need to be a little unpredictable, but it's much easier to be unpredictable. Much easier.
mode, he can actually just kill you. If you're not guarding, because oh look, he's not guarding, idiot. Bam, glitch, 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 glitch.
You'll need to wait for an opportunity though, to where, like, let's say they're charging an attack or something where you know they physically can't guard. You need to wait for a good opportunity to where you can wombo combo them.
Yeah, he wombo combos you with the teleport he has and glitches you. And then
And it's like, yeah,
the
it's
laser,
unblockable.
it's unblockable. I just like to call it the Kamehameha because of the same color and the damage it does.
There are two sides to the same coin. While the forward special, where he teleports and glitches, it's used for when they're not guarding. The shield laser is for when they are. But the prediction game also works here. Yes, they also want to make sure either you predict where they're not guarding or predict when they're going to guard spam.
So yeah, why is he not higher than? It's simply because he has to read the opponent to do his stuff.
And if the opponent reads them correctly, then he could be really bad, like very bad.
Yeah,
So it essentially comes down to skill of the player.
it's
He is not
basically
inherently amazing nor inherently terrible. You just need to play mind games.
yeah, you have to play mind games with this guy. You, if you play Jesmon, have to read into the opponent, and the opponent has to read into you.
It's like a very interesting thing. He's playing more 4D chess than chess ones.
Yeah, you actually took that out of my mouth. Oh my gosh. Okay, so okay, next up we have some interesting guys. We finally are at the Appmon section. These
Which I think we
five
should handle the code
characters
pack
are, in
first.
my opinion, the most surprising entry because I never thought I would see them in the game.
Oh yeah,
So
like I think they're all like very hype. The Ghost Game crew, the Appmon crew, the new gens that I think were everyone was looking forward to, but they didn't think that they'd make it in.
Yeah, because like the
But
Appmons
here they are.
essentially never weren't really regarded much until recently because they fell into obscurity because of Digimon Try, and the Ghost King crew is just super recent, so therefore I'd see them in the game already. That's the thing.
And Cyrusmon and Globemon came in together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that update was super
So,
fire. Let's start with
oh yeah,
let's start with Globemon first, since Appmon came earlier. So, without a
okay.
shadow of a doubt, Globemon will go into double S tier. Where though? Hmm.
I would say,
For now, probably
honestly, as
here.
I'm thinking about this one,
Hmm?
he's better than Blackboard Greymon, but I would say he's probably, to be honest, under all force
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
because he has tools to handle the people under him, but he got to be skilled because he could be swamped away by Metal Speedermon or juggled to death by Jumbo. But if you know how to use them, then those two shouldn't be too bad if you are.
Can I be honest? I actually had a few matches with Globemon where I was losing. Then I started spamming his up special, and suddenly I won.
Sometimes, though, to be fair, I think I was able to read you most of the time.
Huh?
I got some brutal damages and brutal like fatalities when I fought you with Metal Speedermon.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
overall, this guy has a unique factor where he searches and puts a counter on you,
Mm-hmm.
where he's showing your weakness. So he's able to change his normal up special, which is just a recovery move, into a move that sends three tracking rockets toward you. In case the down special, where instead of needing to charge up its laser, it's instantly charged when he fires it, which is more of the DPS move, while the up special is the harassment. And its fourth special can break guards, which
Not
is basically a energy blade he has for his wrist.
notable to note, is the only character in the game which has an unblockable attack in Ultra in base form.
Hard to use, but yes.
Uh, one thing
Essentially,
I
he
pointed
is a
out as
fast
well.
character
Yeah, he's a really fast character. One
and
thing,
can do a lot of damage at ranges and can harass the close range. I've done it effectively. But he is an all-around character. But you should not get lost in what he can do because if you're just blindly throwing everything and are like panicking, like just button mashing, you are not going to win.
one thing I did point out in the video I just made is that the neutral special, the one thing you can use to search, also interrupts the opponent if they're too close, or it can also be used to extend wall combos if you like to play him as a rushdown.
It's very useful in that respect.
Mm.
But
He's
there's a lot of people that actually don't know what neutral does, which is kind of shocking to me.
yeah, he's quite literally an upgraded version of Gatchman because Gatchman does the same thing, but he needs to stay on the ground. Uh,
Overall, he does not do a whole bunch of damage, I'm gonna be honest with you. He does not do all that much, like compared to Wargreymon Expert. He is
well,
much weaker attack wise.
well,
However, he just requires you to be smarter about it, which he is more consistent and better at evasion.
well. Hold that thought. In Ultra mode, he actually does damage.
That, yes, that is true.
In
But
Ultra
he
mode,
also has a very short lived one.
he has that forward special and which does insane damage while still being unblockable because he can still search. Does the laser does decent damage? Do we want to talk about the Evo mode as well? The Evo move?
Oh, yes. So essentially, he will do its attack globalization, which he will fire off a projectile up into the air before it scatters into a whole bunch of tiny ones, showering the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
It's a better version of like the likes of Machine Run sub special, where in this case, depending on your height, is the bigger spread for the projectiles.
Yeah, so like
It's
Machine
pretty good
Dramon,
at stopping the enemy from moving around and can be a perfect opening for you to do some unblockable attack or unbreak guard breaking attacks. And if you're lucky, it can charge your meter pretty rapidly.
yeah, so this move does essentially very little damage, but it's very useful in the utility department. And
It's probably the worst.
unlike Machine Dramons, it
Probably the
basically
worst.
favors from Globumon's positioning, because Globumon is really good at positioning himself wherever the hell he wants. Because he has double S speed in Ultra, he can stay in the air for a long time. And when he's perfectly at the center in most stages, he can just cover the whole field with this thing.
Now, mind you, it is not an Evo move for damage.
Nope.
It is the worst one for damage. So if you're expecting a big Death Laser, you're not going to get that.
Well, not.
It's basically something to stop people from living the way they want to. It is an area control that is good for opening for damage for you, not for doing damage by itself.
Okay, wait a second. It's actually not the worst one. It's not actually the
Oh,
worst Evo move for damage. The worst Evo move for damage is Sakuyamon's because it actually doesn't do damage.
oh well, if that can really count, that can.
But yeah,
Okay, second then, we're kind of screwed.
it's yeah, it's okay. It's the worst one. It's the worst Evo move for damage, which can actually do damage because Sakuyamon's doesn't do damage.
Yeah,
It just inflicts statuses.
but yeah, he's pretty multi-purpose. If you
Very
know how to use the counter system and are very good at reading the enemy, he can exploit weaknesses at a rapid rate.
He has very high utility, decent damage, very annoying to fight. Never.
But if you're not a technical user, you are not going to have a fun time using him, nor will you get a lot of wins. If you can't read your enemy or know how to use your special counters properly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, shall we move to his colleague?
Alrighty.
Revivemon.
Revivemon.
Okay, Revivemon is also in double S tier. I will put Revivemon directly above him, actually.
He has some interesting mechanics that are both amazing, but balanced out by some glaring weaknesses.
He's much more straightforward than Globon, I will say this.
That
Much,
is true.
much more simple to use. But he's only that strong, almost broken, I would say, against the AI. Because
Mainly because AI doesn't know how to handle lasers.
doesn't know how
I
to
think
handle
that's just
lasers.
an AI issue.
Yeah. The problem is essentially that the laser he has is his only real offensive tool. He only has that laser. But
So it's hyper predictable.
mhm. But if he does hit the laser, especially if it hits it multiple times or uses the neutral special beforehand, and you get hit by it, you're gonna feel it. Like enjoy
He
getting
has some nasty tricks in mind where he hacks
glitched,
the enemy.
attack disabled or guard disabled. Pick your poison.
He has some nasty tricks that nobody else in the cast has in base. The
Hmm.
problem is he needs to hit it, which if the enemy knows who Revivemon is or what he's capable of, they can jump out of the way or guard, which is very easy to do.
Yep.
You better have a backup plan when it fails, because it probably will against players.
Especially if they're playing as a rushdown character, like Ulforce.
Yes,
And
because
Ulforce
if you're against a wall, Revivemon has almost no ways of getting out unless he somehow gets mercy from his enemy.
will also negate his laser because of the barrier.
Revivemon has a huge hitbox, and it's very slow, with no means to get people off him effectively outside of his down special now, kind of.
Yeah, that
His
actually
down
got
special allows him to heal a little bit, but it's a
in
nice tool
base.
to have in base. Essentially, he has two objectives: to either defeat the enemy with a laser or to outlast them by healing over time, hence the name Revivemon.
Hmm.
While the enemy could be slapping you around, having your weaknesses easily exploited, you could win the long term by healing it off, playing the long game, and eventually whittling down the enemy.
So
So you have two ways to win.
that also means he can be really strong in matches that have a timer.
Hmm.
We had quite a few matches where sometimes I ended up losing because Revivemon just out healed all the damage I did to him.
So if you're like playing as a ranger against Revivemon,
No,
it's not going to go as well.
yeah, if you're playing as a zoner, but if I remember correctly, I was using Bancho Leomon in that match.
Like rushdowns have an easier time for sure, but it's not a guaranteed victory.
Yep.
Now in its ultra mode, he
Ultramon is
kind of keeps a lot of the same tools, except one huge factor. Its down special is cranked up to the maximum,
it's
where instead of
basically
healing just a little bit, it heals an explosive amount, but
it's a
drains a lot of its meter.
yeah, it's a burst heal, which now
Hmm.
also has a key component, which is invincibility during cast, meaning that it cannot be interrupted, and some attacks will phase through him while he's casting it.
Like you could be on death's door, but get this ult and be back in the game.
That and he also has some time of free flight with the forward special, which will also do more damage. So he also has
Is this good for
slightly,
doing more damage or getting out of the way of enemies because it allows more airtime?
yeah. So he also has slightly more firepower. And one other thing I also want to mention about Revivemon is that the down special not only heals him, but also removes status effects.
Hmm. Being the only character that can effectively.
Yeah, I think he also removes Blade Shift. The only status so far that I haven't seen him removing was Luchamon's orbs, essentially.
True. It's hard to remove a mark by Satan, I suppose.
Yeah, that's basically the only thing he can get rid of. But everything else, he can just delete it.
So he has some major weaknesses, but once you can know how to master his strengths,
Hmm.
you can mitigate those weaknesses.
Okay. Also, one thing I forgot is technically he's not also not the only character that can do that because I kind of forgot that Alphamon can also do it. But Revival is more impressive in
Oh,
this factor. Yeah, Alphamon can do it, but he's more impressive in this factor, Revival, because Alphamon needs to be in Ultra because he needs to use the Alpha Enforce. Revival can do it in base whenever he wants.
which is very effective in dealing with people with ults that have a lot of status effects.
The Sulfat then comparing it
I've
to
actually won
Alphamon.
PvP against Grandis one time
Mhm.
because I healed off all the bugs.
The Sulfat then comparing it to Alphamon just says how incredible this guy is. But
On
the
the
thing,
same token, I've also lost matches to A tier characters for this guy because of rushdown purposes.
yeah, that's the
He
thing.
does not do well against Hercules Caboterian, for instance.
Yeah, okay. The thing is, the main reason why he's up here is both because he's unique and because he just destroys everything. If you're fighting against the AI, he's like the easiest character among the non-bosses, at least, to complete survival with. But if you're fighting against
Definitely
another
in the top three
player,
for sure.
you actually need to be careful.
Hmm. So I actually lost survival the other day with him, believe it or not, against Hercules Caboterian, who got it from 100 to nothing.
With the revive mana. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
he could not get out of the way, and his big body just kept taking everything that Caboterian had.
Yeah, his big body is basically his main weak. He's too chunky.
And now it's to an A class character, by the way. So the weaknesses are there. You just need to try and shield them from enemy eyes.
It's not Windows. It's just too big.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have
Okay.
windows.
I
Okay,
think that goes to the Ghost King cast now.
we're down to the last three. Okay, since we're now in Ghost Game, let's obviously start with the protagonist.
Hmm.
Serious Mon will
An
definitely go into
addition
that
that a
list
lot of
here.
people loved.
They love him. Good, because I am definitely gonna put Serious Mon right here.
No, Valdura is better.
Are
Come
you
on
sure?
now.
Okay.
I put Machinemon one space higher too, because we've had that matchup a few times. Machinemon always comes second.
Hmm.
But yeah, right there.
About Calandramon, okay. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. So, Serious
Okay.
Mon.
Want to take it away?
Serious Mon is essentially one of the best rushdown characters in the game. Think of him as a basically Ulforce without the teleport, but in exchange, he has some pretty dang good projectiles. Uh, his down special is basically the only projectile which has essentially a spread shot effect. Besides maybe Ravemon, but Ravemon doesn't really do damage with it. He actually does. And the most unique thing about him is his neutral special, Break Quasar, which is basically a two-step move. You will first shoot a small green projectile, and then another one which will make it explode and leave this big hitbox on the field for a little while. And in Ultra, it's even worse because the explosion not only is bigger, but it's also unblockable. And
You said something pretty interesting there.
in general,
You
he
said
just
that he was like a Raidmon in him. You put a similarity there. That is actually a very good point because Raidmon and him have a similar kit. But he's just better than Raidmon because they both can poke, but Cyrusmon is more poking. They both have really high priority melee, except Cyrusmon's melees are just stronger and do more damage and a higher priority.
and can combo into
And they
each
both have a
other.
splash damage move, but he has a stronger splash damage move that's harder to avoid
That and the Serious One is also much better at doing combos because I also compare it to
while
Ulforce.
staying in the air.
While staying in the air, I compare it to Ulforce for a reason. He's really good at doing
Mhm.
combos. He can combo into his melee, into the other melee, and then into the projectile. He's the ultimate combo
And
master.
I believe it's more durable than Raidmon too.
Yeah, he has. I think he has B plus defense. It's pretty decent. And to top it all off, he has the cherry on the cake, which is his Evo move, Planet Knuckle. Planet Knuckle basically makes him invincible for a short period of time, and then makes him charge at the enemy, semi-tracking like Doro, for a very sizable amount of damage. Um, Most of the time, it will fail if you just use this carelessly. But if the enemy is really close, or you just avoid the melee attack with it, it's basically guaranteed to land. Because I
Yeah,
remember,
it has some glaring flaws, but you just need to use it carefully.
yeah, because
When in
if
close proximity like that, kind of like the Elsmon.
yeah, its Planet Knuckle is basically um, a slower version of Beelzemon's Feast of the Base King, but because it's invincible for a longer time, you can also use it for a surprise factor. And I actually won a few matches because of it, because like I got attacked, and right as I was getting attacked, I activated the move, and that actually killed. He's
Yeah, in some of the fashions, though, it can be better than the Elsmons because the Elsmons can be canceled by barriers and certain projectiles fall. Irismon goes through all that.
Yeah, that he's not as snappy as Beelzebub because Beelzebub literally is the snappiest character in the
Yeah,
game. But he's really fast. He's fast enough to boot. He's literally a jack of all trades, master of everything, essentially.
a very strong all arounder. One
Yeah,
of the best, actually, probably the best all arounder in the game.
probably the best all-rounder in the game. I think he's also, not counting Yukimon, probably the strongest protagonist, if you think about it.
Unless we're like, well,
Counting the boss
hmm,
characters.
not counting boss characters, yeah, he's the second strongest.
Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
Grani. It's not a
yeah,
Galmon,
because
Grani.
Granny, besides Granny, yeah. The only thing you need to learn about Serious Money is how Break Razor works, because the rest is just
Hmm.
brain dead easy. It's just pretty easy. Okay.
The fact that he'll pretty much win in melee against everything he fights is pretty big.
hmm Okay, now this guy right here, Dear Beatmon.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
Dear
he's
Beatmon
gonna be
is
weird to
actually
put up here.
okay. Dear Beat is actually a little hard to judge because it's definitely in double S tier, but uh
I'd put him higher.
yeah,
Higher.
honestly, probably here.
Probably there.
Yeah. Okay, so the thing about Dear Beatmon. On paper, Dear Beatmon is like a very simple and straightforward guy. He just lunges at you, rushes you down, and with an occasional projectile. But then he has the down special. The down special alone makes him an enormous threat because what he does with this is that, say for the initial window, he can basically catch any attack coming his way and then counter immediately by just teleporting behind the enemy and striking them. This counter
You
is
know,
also unblockable, so like if he actually counters, it's basically guaranteed damage.
he is weird because I originally overlooked him like he's not that bad. But after a lot of critical thinking and a lot of matches, I came to realize that in player versus player, he is one of the most busted characters out there because
You
no
never beat
Rangers can touch him due to that
you
block.
because you never beat
And
him.
his melee has the most priority in the game of all attacks that are in melee.
I
The only
just
exception are attacks that people are invincible in.
Yeah, I very rarely lose with your Beatmon.
Actually, I don't think you ever have against me.
Against you, yeah, I never lost you. I never lost with your Beatmon. That
Like
even against guys like Giga Sidramon or Rusty Randomon, it basically counters almost everything. Like the only thing it
like
doesn't count.
even like Grandis or Doru or Debormon, he'd erase them all, I'm pretty sure.
The only thing
I
it
think the only
doesn't.
reason we put him down here, right here, is because the PvE performance put him a bit down. But player versus player, he just is unbalanced.
The only thing it doesn't counter is essentially barriers and probably physical projectiles like Sakuyamon's familiars. And for some reason, it also doesn't counter Granny's projectiles. So it's very
Well, Grani be
specific.
Grani.
The tracking projectiles, it doesn't counter those. It counters the normal stuff that base Dukemon has, but not Granny's specific projectiles.
For instance, I don't think there's a single thing that Omnimon can do that could stop him.
Yeah, basically,
Yes, I think he has more priority than Omnimon's melee, and he can stop any of its ranged attacks.
it basically has the forward special of Kaiser Greymon coupled with the better air game. Where's Kaiser Greymon? Yeah, he's here.
I think he even has better melee than Kaitsugrimon
No, he's on the same level. It just
because he's faster,
yeah, he's. I meant the
so he can perform it quicker.
I meant the priority is the same as Kaiser Greymon. So
It's hefty.
yeah, it's just that he's
It's
faster.
mainly because
So he
he
sacrificed.
has that priority with Bielsmon like speed, with range that can handle any ranger.
Yeah, because his projectile is also semi-tracking.
Not to mention when he warps to people, when he teleports, he can go right into the 100% no fail melee attacks, and then back off and do the same thing over again, and he just won't fail.
And this combo game is comparable to Serious Monsters, essentially, if you think about it, if not better.
I think the only time that strategy would fail is if you teleported into a barrier or something.
Yeah. Or if he simply just mistimes the counter. It can happen, but
So
you have
PVE, he's around here. PvP, if we were doing a PvP list, he'd be like right under Paladin or something.
probably. I don't know. I don't think it's that high. I think this is the right spot because like I think Phoenix Monk
I
is
bet if
fine.
we did a match list after this, he would clap the people above him.
I think Phoenix Monk can still handle him, but yeah.
Hmm, don't know about that. You thought Giga Speedermon could handle him,
Gigasidon doesn't have a barrier though.
but he does have physical beams. And the Rabbitmon nearly got it perfect.
It makes me laugh to be honest because this guy was a literal zero in the anime.
Yeah, he didn't really do all that much, but here,
He
I
won.
think it's yeah, just the physics of it all.
Yeah, in the anime
I
he
really
won.
hope that gets nerfed in the future.
In the anime he won one fight and that's it.
Oh well,
Yeah,
it's what it is, I suppose.
yeah,
No reason to complain about it.
yeah,
I think we have one last entry.
yeah. Amphimon. Okay, Amphimon is in S tier. She's not quite as amazing in my opinion, but she does have her tricks. I will put Amphimon probably here.
I put mm,
Uh,
I put under Rapidmon
let's reflect a little bit.
because I think the people under her, the two space fits down there, have a lot of range that are hard to deal with. And not to mention Saint
Yeah,
Galgamon also has super armor and melee, just like her, but better.
yeah, and that Gatling gun thing. Yeah, okay. So like the thing about Amphimon is just she's a pretty slow, tanky character that also kind of fights it as an all rounder because she has a good projectile and some melee tools. And then she has a unique mechanic which is her down special. It's a shield that basically blocks any instance for one time only. So like even really strong attacks like say Chaos Dramon's cannon, she can be protected by it. The problem
Mm.
with that is that it blocks one attack. It blocks one hit from anything. So even something like Agumon's Fireball can get rid of the shield.
It also means it falters against like a lot of peppering of attack, like let's say Metal Gurumon X or anyone that uses a lot of bullets.
Like
But it
again,
scales higher against characters that have one huge explosive attack. Like let's say likes of Aldemon or Lilithmon or something.
would you mention again that has a lot of attacks? This guy right here.
Yeah. Like Bullet Hell, she kind of falters.
Yeah, I guess Aldemon can kind of handle her. Uh,
But like War Greymon's Terraforce, perfect one to negate.
mm,
And the shield basically acts as a opening for her to go melee.
okay, it's best to specify because, like, yeah, one attack can get rid of his shield, but he also gives her some seconds of invincibility as well. But
Hmm.
so it
Which is
depends
good
on,
for her to take advantage of and just beat them up while they're recovering from that attack.
yeah, so it also depends on which attack she blocks. But it's like, it's not
And
like,
it's good against stage characters, I've noticed, like Loosemon, for instance. That unblockable attack he has, she can negate it all.
true. Or even Dex, I guess, she can be protected against yeah, the grab or the circle
The
laser.
sweeping beam,
Yeah.
all the strongest attacks from all the stage people, she can typically negate, which is terrific, but a niche thing.
Mm-hmm. And besides that, she has freeze in Ultra, and the kick she does with up special is unblockable. So besides that, besides the shield thing, everything she does is pretty straightforward.
I mean, she's a pretty strong unit. She has a lot going for her. A lot of super armor, freeze, invincibility.
She's
A
just,
well skilled player can eliminate most characters with her if they know what they're up to.
yeah, she's just a little clunky for me specifically. I don't know.
She's hard to
Maybe
get into. There's high difficulty gap.
mhm. Like she's definitely more balanced compared to her two companions. Because
For
like
sure.
their big one is basically broken, and Serious Money is kind of close to that. She's definitely on the
He's
more
like
balanced level.
teetering the line, Irismon, but the Rabbitmon embraced it.
Yeah, because I kind of feel bad in calling Serious Money broken because I like using him.
I
But
mean, I
yeah,
think he's fine. I think it's all right. It's just when people become immune to everything, like the Rabbitmon, becomes a problem.
yeah, you need to
Like I've gotten a perfect against Grandis with him. A perfect.
with your Batemon. Yeah.
Yeah. And against another player, by the way.
Mm. Yeah, which is the thing. Yeah, yeah, you need to time the counter, but if you are good at timing things, then yeah, he's insane.
Hmm.
Because again, the counter is unblockable, even in base.
But I think that's everyone on the tier list.
Yeah, I think we are finally done.
Hmm.
Oh, freak.
So
It was a long journey. We
the
finally ended it. Oh, so,
king being Alphamon and the lowest of the low is Numamon, Platinum Numamon, which
okay,
nobody is
so,
really shocked here.
yeah, actually, you know what? Maybe I can get rid of these two rows since they are unused.
I think because like how far the game has progressed, it really shows a lot that two tiers were removed because people got buffed up to no longer be garbage, which is very nice. Because while we have rated some people harshly, there were people way worse, and people up here were way worse to the point of unusability. But now, even people way down there still have a chance to win. Before, some just couldn't.
Yeah,
While
yeah, even
B tier is still kind of harsh, A tiers can still win, most definitely.
yeah, the well, King Chessman can sometimes win, but yeah, we said what his problems are. But yeah, A tier can still win just fine as long as they know what they're doing.
That's why we kind of seem like S and SS class fairies, where you just like put everyone up there. That was not always the case.
No, no,
They've come a long way.
yeah, the game has been out for quite a while. Everyone got patched along the way a lot. Like there were guys that were straight up unusable, like Digimon, for example. Now he's up here.
In the original tier list, there's only a handful in SS tier. Goes to show you how much has changed.
Yep. So
But if that's it, I think we can call it a night.
yeah, I think we're finally done, and hopefully we gave pretty precise, pretty accurate intel on how the game works with this as well. So
Yeah,
everyone, I will bid you see you later, maybe. I don't know if I will
and
do this
hope you
again.
enjoy the game.
Hope you enjoy the game. I personally don't know if I will do this again in the future because this was pretty heavy. But yeah,
Maybe not videos, but we will update the tier list as time goes on.
yeah. Okay, everyone. I will see you guys in the next videos. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, and thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, and thanks for joining me, Shen. Okay, see ya.
Bye bye.